Only the eyes of a chosen one can see meaning in pain, recognize signs in silence, and perceive the invisible that others ignore. Because when a chosen one is hurt, they not only feel, they awaken. And what they see in that moment changes everything. It is in the moment of pain that the gaze of the chosen one transforms, and what seemed unjust begins to reveal directions. Because there are spiritual secrets that only unfold for those who carry within themselves a hidden mission that needs to be activated in the midst of battle. Many look, but few see what the chosen one sees, because their eyes were not made just for the natural. They were trained in pain to perceive what the spiritual world is saying. And that is why, when they suffer, everything around them moves. To hurt a chosen one is to touch something sacred. It is to provoke an awakening that does not always return in the same way, because the pain that enters does not return empty. It activates gifts, separates paths, and reveals who is who in the surrounding environment. The chosen one, when hurt, begins to see deeply what was once confusing, and even without understanding everything, they feel that there is something greater directing the process, as if the pain opened a new spiritual vision about themselves and their mission. You may have even cried in silence, thinking you were alone, but every tear was recorded up above. And the truth is that your pain was not weakness. It was preparation, because only those who are ready to carry something that the world is not used to seeing awaken. If all of this spoke to you, if your heart raced while reading, if you felt that this message seemed written for your story, then stay with me until the end. And before you go, follow the channel, because here no one awakens alone. There is pain that seems like a punishment. It feels like it came just to break you, to bring you down, to silence you. But the chosen one feels differently. Even without understanding, something inside them whispers, "This is not the end. This is leading me somewhere." Pain does not knock at the door of someone carrying a mission for no reason. It arrives as if it is pushing you to the next step, even when everything seems to collapse. It's confusing at first. You look around, see people living in peace and wonder, why is it always harder for me? But the truth is that pain comes for those who will need strength ahead. God does not waste suffering. What hurt you yesterday is what will help you endure what is to come tomorrow. Pain did not slow you down. It prepared you. The chosen ones live processes that do not always make sense to others. What seems unfair to those observing is, in fact, a silent calling for something greater. Joseph, for example, was betrayed by his own brothers, sold, forgotten. His pain seemed like abandonment, but it was God moving pieces. Joseph was not being rejected. He was being positioned. Those looking from the outside do not understand the magnitude of the battle that a chosen one faces within. But what no one sees, heaven observes. Nothing goes unnoticed. Pain takes you out of your comfortable place, but that is precisely where the process begins. It shakes everything that is stagnant and forces you to look up. It is then that you understand that only God can lift you. You were not forgotten. You were called. And pain was the touch that activated that calling. Even if you did not realize it at the time, something began to change. Sometimes the calling comes amid a loss. Other times, it comes in fatigue, in exhaustion, at that moment when you say, "I can't take it anymore." And it is there that you are renewed. It is hard to accept this while it still hurts. But over time, you will look back and realize that every tear was pushing you closer to your mission. Pain affects your heart in a way that words cannot explain. But after it, you see more clearly. You feel more truthfully. You love more deeply. When everything collapses, the chosen one does not fall for no reason. They fall to listen. Because at the bottom of the pit, the voice of God echoes louder. It is there that He calls. Perhaps this is the phase in which you have suffered the most. Or perhaps you are going through this right now. But know this. This is not punishment. It is a process of birth, of awakening. The calling does not come with soft music. Sometimes it comes in the silence of pain, in loneliness, in doubt, in falling. But those who listen rise differently. The chosen one does not go through pain to be broken, but to be rebuilt. Stronger, more sensitive, more steadfast, ready for what no one else will be able to carry. And when you finally understand this, everything changes. Anger turns into acceptance. The question turns into a prayer. The tears turn into strength. You are not a victim of pain. You are being prepared. You may have been hurt, but you were not forgotten. You were summoned. And this summons is only for those who have the courage to continue, even when everything hurts. This is what happens when a chosen one is made to cry. Something breaks inside, but it is not the end. It is the beginning of something new. The tear of a chosen one is not just pain. It is a key. It is in that moment of weakness that they begin to see with different eyes. Eyes that the world does not understand, but heaven recognizes. When a chosen one is hurt, they do not just feel, they perceive. The pain does not go unnoticed. It reveals. What was once blurred, confusing, or camouflaged begins to take shape. People show themselves. Environments change. Hidden intentions appear. The soul sees. And a new direction begins to be born within them. Most only see a fall. But the chosen one sees liberation. What seemed like the end is, in fact, the necessary separation for the next step. God uses pain to remove what cannot move forward. Friendships, habits, ideas. Everything is confronted when a chosen one cries. And what remains is only the essential. The break cleanses. It removes what has already expired. It takes away what is holding you back. It shatters what prevents your growth. And when the pain comes strong, it is because the next level requires space. There is no way to carry old baggage with a renewed soul. The chosen one learns this in the deepest way. By feeling. Tears are not signs of weakness. They are marks of sensitivity. Only those who feel cry. And only those who have purpose feel. A chosen one does not harden on the outside. They strengthen on the inside. And it is precisely by feeling so deeply that they become capable of carrying what few would endure. Pain makes them stronger. In the fall, everything seems confusing. But it is there that clarity is born. The noise of the world diminishes. The soul becomes silent. And in the midst of this silence, God speaks. Not with words, but with signs. With direction, with peace amid chaos. The vision changes. The heart listens. And faith strengthens. Pain teaches the chosen one to let go. To release what no longer belongs to the journey. People who hurt. Places that drain. Cycles that imprison. All this dissolves when the soul understands that to move forward, one must let go. And when they release, something greater arrives. It always arrives. The truth is that only those who have truly cried understand this process. The chosen one does not return the same after being broken. They return more aware, more connected, more sensitive to the voice of God. Pain does not destroy them. It shapes them. And what is born from that has its own shine. This is what no one sees. The world sees the tears and thinks it is weakness. But heaven sees it as strength. Because only those who are chosen can endure certain pains and continue. Only those who have purpose can transform suffering into faith. Each tear shed is a seed of strength being planted. If you are crying today, do not blame yourself. You are seeing what you need to see. Your soul is being freed. Your vision is being adjusted. You are being positioned. And when this pain passes, you will understand. It was not the end. It was the beginning. Because only the eyes of a chosen one can see what pain reveals. When a chosen one is hurt, their eyes open to what no one else can see. And in that moment of pain, the gifts that were dormant begin to manifest subtly, yet powerfully, transforming silence into direction and sensitivity into a spiritual antenna that picks up what the natural world does not explain. They begin to feel the environment more deeply, as if each place carried a hidden warning, a different energy, and even without fully understanding why, they know when to stay, when to leave, and when something or someone is not aligned with what God is building within them. People talk, but the chosen one listens to what has not been said, because their discernment activates, their heart picks up intentions, and they learn to trust what they feel, even if others doubt. For now they know this perception does not come from the mind. It comes from the spirit. The gift does not arrive with noise. It is born in the silence of pain, and it is in that space where everything seemed lost that the chosen one begins to realize that what they thought was merely intuition is, in fact, a constant conversation between them and God. Pain refined them, like an instrument that needed tuning, and the more they cried, the cleaner the channel between their inner self and heaven became, allowing them to hear clearly, see deeply, and feel precisely what had previously gone unnoticed. Dreams become more vivid, filled with messages, and many times they are answers that they did not receive during the day but arrive at night, in the form of visions, premonitions, or warnings that make the heart burn and awaken the spirit even more. Every little detail now has value, because gifts reveal themselves, not just in great moments, but in simplicity, in a word that comforts, in a gaze that conveys peace, in a presence that transforms. And the chosen one realizes that their gift is not for themselves, but to heal, uplift, and activate others. This new vision does not make them superior. It makes them more responsible, because now they carry keys that open doors in other lives, and they understand that everything they went through was necessary for them to learn to use these gifts with humility, awareness, and true purpose. They no longer force anything, because everything begins to flow, and what was once doubt becomes certainty. What was confusion becomes clarity, and what seemed like senseless suffering now reveals a sensitivity so refined that it guides them along paths they never imagined they would walk. Being hurt activated something within them that had been sleeping, and now that it has awakened, there is no turning back, because the chosen one, whose gifts have been activated, walks with a different vision, with a different heart, and with the certainty that pain did not come to destroy them. It came to prepare them for who they were born to be. When a chosen one goes through pain, they do not come out just stronger. They come out carrying a different energy, and this change is so profound that it transforms not only them, but everything around them, because the vibration of someone who has been touched by God begins to affect environments, relationships, and even decisions. They enter places, and the atmosphere changes, not because they impose themselves, but because they carry a presence that has been shaped in pain, refined by truth, and activated in the spirit. And those who are near sense, even without understanding, that something about them is not ordinary. Something in them communicates without needing to say anything. This new energy is not something visible to the eyes, but it is completely perceptible to the heart, because the chosen one begins to emanate firmness, sensitivity, and peace at the same time, as if their own journey had left spiritual marks that now speak for them before they even open their mouth. The right people begin to approach, not because they seek them, but because their energy attracts them, while others begin to distance themselves naturally. as if they can no longer bear to be where the light reveals what could previously remain hidden. And the Chosen One understands that this is part of the process. This presence is not arrogance. It is the result of the healing they have received, because those who have already gone through pain and overcome know how to embrace, know how to listen, know how to perceive when someone is about to break down. And for this reason, without effort, they become a support for those still caught in the storm. The Chosen One learns to respect their own spiritual field, to distance themselves from places where their energy is drained, to protect their peace as something sacred, and to value environments that nurture their mission, because they understand that where they step, something happens, and this needs to be cared for with wisdom. This change also affects how they communicate, because their words now carry more weight, their voice carries truth, and even silence has meaning, because they no longer speak out of vanity, but out of mission, and what comes out of their mouth has the power to uplift, heal, awaken, and break through. Pain transformed them, and this transformation radiates not to show that they have overcome, but to remind others that they can also overcome, because their energy is now not just theirs. It has become an answer, a sign, a living hope for those who cross their path in moments of pain. When a Chosen One changes within, everything around begins to react, because the vibration they emanate is spiritual. And when someone like that enters a place, either they elevate the environment, or the environment expels them, because the light they carry does not mix with hidden darkness. When someone tries to hurt a Chosen One, it may even seem like they succeeded for a time, but what that person does not see is that there are invisible laws already at work, because those who touch someone with purpose do not just affect one person. They affect God's plan. The pain may be real, but the spiritual response is also real, and it does not fail, because the Chosen One does not need to take revenge, does not need to prove anything, does not need to attack. They just need to stand firm, because everything that was unjust will be dealt with by hands much greater than theirs. Many times the Chosen One remains silent and appears weak, appears defeated, but behind that silence lies a strength that no one sees, a covering that no one understands, and that is why everything that has been done against them returns at the right time, in the exact way, as a response from heaven. It is not about punishment for hatred. It is about spiritual balance, about a justice that comes in a precise, clean, and inevitable way, because the Chosen One has a path aligned with greater purposes, and any attempt to deviate that path will be confronted by something much more powerful than human wickedness. Those who plot traps against a Chosen One end up falling into them, not because they wished for it, but because spiritual laws ensure that what was sent returns, and what seemed like a defeat transforms into deliverance, repositioning and elevation before the very eyes of those who tried to bring them down. Spiritual justice does not arrive with a shout. It arrives in silence, when no one else believes, when the Chosen One has already placed it in God's hands, when time has passed and it seemed like nothing would happen. Then it comes, with perfection, with strength, and changes everything all at once. It is common for the Chosen One to be wronged, misinterpreted, or even betrayed by those who claim to be by their side. But they learn that all of this will be transformed into honor, and that the same stage where they were humiliated can become the place where they will be exalted, because God works in cycles. The Chosen One does not need to worry about defending themselves from everything, because the truth always appears, lies do not hold up, and when spiritual justice acts, there is no argument that stands, no mask that remains intact, no darkness that resists the incoming light. While the world believes that the Chosen One has lost, heaven is already writing another ending, because nothing that has been done against them will go unscathed. And even though it may take time, everything will return to the right place, with the right people, at the right time, with the taste of truth being restored. And when justice arrives, the chosen one understands that they never needed to fight alone, because those who walk with a mission carry alongside them a protection that does not fail, a judge who does not sleep, and a response that comes at the exact moment, not to feed the ego, but to fulfill the purpose. It is at the bottom of the pit that the chosen one begins to listen clearly, because when everything around crumbles, what remains is the sound of their own soul calling. And it is in that heavy silence, in that place where no one else can help, that the mission begins to take shape within them. The mission does not arise on stage. It is born in pain, on the day they think about giving up, in the moment they feel forgotten, tired, powerless. And then, instead of disappearing, something within them ignites. And for the first time, they understand that they were not made just to survive. It was the same with Job, who lost everything, was judged by everyone, remained silent, and still chose to trust. And in the midst of his pain, he did not find ready answers. He found presence. And when that presence became real, he understood that his story would not end in that dark phase. The chosen one realizes that suffering was not random, that each tear had a purpose, that each fall removed something that was not part of their true purpose. And only then do they begin to see that what nearly destroyed them also revealed them. The mission does not impose itself. It reveals itself gradually amid vulnerability, when pride has already fallen, when the masks have been torn away, when all that remains is faith, even if weak, even trembling, but still standing. And it is there that they begin to understand the reason for their existence. This awakening comes with a certainty they never had before. They did not go through all of this in vain, because no one goes through so much pain just to remain the same. And what they learned at the bottom of the pit now becomes a compass to guide others who are getting lost. Because now they see clearly that pain did not come to destroy. It came to awaken an identity that was hidden beneath layers of fear, haste, distraction, and survival. Rebirth is not a beautiful moment at first. It is confusing, lonely, and often silent, because no one sees what is happening inside. But the chosen one feels that they are changing, that they are aligning with a new truth, and realizes that they can no longer live as they once did. They are reborn with healed wounds and a peace that does not come from answers, but from surrender. Because the chosen one does not need to understand everything to trust. They just know they have been carried this far by a force greater than themselves. And that is enough to continue. Like the phoenix, they emerge from the ashes, not in a hurry, but with firmness. Because every broken piece was gathered carefully. Every tear was used as divine glue, and their new form is made of faith, not appearance, of truth, not effort. Like Lazarus, they do not return just with life. They return with direction, return with purpose, return with testimony, and where there was once pain, there is now spiritual authority. Because the chosen one who went through emotional death returns carrying something that the world cannot steal, their essence shaped by pain and faith. This rebirth inspires, not through perfection, but through visible transformation, because those who look can see that there is something different about them, something light yet deep, something that cannot be explained with words, but is felt in the way they walk, talk, breathe, and look at the world around them. Now they carry hope, and not superficial hope, but hope tested by fire, hope that knows what it is to fall and rise, hope that reaches out to those still on the ground. Because the chosen one who is reborn understands that their pain was not just about them. And perhaps this is the greatest sign that the rebirth is real. They do not return wanting attention. They return willing to serve, to lift others up, to share what they have learned, because what they carry now is light, and that light was born in the darkest place of their journey. If you felt that your pain transformed you, that your fall taught you to fly, then understand this. You were not hurt for nothing. Every tear watered a strength that is now awakening. Your mission is just beginning. Stay strong, and if this message spoke to you, comment down below. Share it with those who need to hear this. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, take the opportunity now. Here, no one awakens alone. This is the place of the Chosen One. And when a Chosen One awakens, the world around them is never the same. Let's go together until the end of your mission.